Winged liner, man, the struggle is very real. Alright, so today we are going to be talking all about wings. One of the hardest things in my opinion to do, especially if you have hooded lids. If you don't have hooded lids, this technique will definitely still work for you. It'll probably just look 50 times better. Must be nice. So I feel like over the years, how I do my winged liner has been one of my most asked questions. And I finally wanted to sit down, do a video on it, and just do a very basic talk through explanation basically of what I do. With hooded lids, the goal is to get them as even as possible. The reality is that they're never going to be perfect. I'm not perfect at winged liner by any means. I'm just sitting in a room talking to myself, showing you guys what I do. I feel like I found a technique that works really well once you practice. All of this makeup is practice, life is practice. That just got deep. I look exactly the same right now because I just did a video on the Clarisonic brush head, so if you want to see me test out this foundation brush rotating thing, it's a good time. That video will be linked down below in the description box. Pre-filming for while I'm in China, I'll be there when you guys are seeing this. It's a 2 videos in 1 day kind of week. So I hope this is helpful for you. Let's just jump into it. I feel like I had something else to tell you guys. The 2 products that I'm using in this video are Drugstore. I've been using this product for years. I prefer it over high-end eyeliners I've tried. This eyeliner is just my child. So if you've seen any of my videos, you know that my holy grail eyeliner is the Physicians Formula Eye Booster eyeliner in the shade Ultra Black. If you're gonna pick this up, make sure you get the Ultra Black shade because just the black shade is pretty shitty. I have a new one in box right here to show you. Here's the one I usually use. They look the same, so when you're picking it up, just double check the shade right here says Ultra Black. So if you can tell, I have lash extensions right now, hence why my lashes are already done. In my time when I'm filming this, I just got them done a few days ago, so I actually haven't applied eyeliner with them on yet, so we'll see how this goes. I'm just gonna do my normal technique. It's pretty much the same as applying eyeliner if you have mascara on already or like false lashes. So if you just have your normal lashes on, no lash extensions or anything, you wanna put on your eyeliner after your eyeshadow and before your mascara. So everything except my eyeliner right now is basically done. I'm gonna be putting some bottom lash mascara on, but I always do that after eyeliner as well. So I'm gonna actually use the new one today. Why not? Obviously, depending on how much you wear liquid liner, I usually wear it a few times a week. And these pens last me a while for liquid liner. I would say a couple months before you start to see the pigment kind of go away. This is kind of when you know you're getting to the end for me when it starts fraying a little bit. I usually get this just right on the end, like right before I toss it. So it shouldn't get annoying and fray right when you first start using it. This one isn't a super matte black, but it is very black. It stays on, it's quick. It rains a shit ton in Seattle and I never have my eyeliner or anything running all over my face. I find that it applies pretty well over shimmer eyeshadows. Sometimes that can be an issue with eyeliner. You don't get like the full pigment when you put it over shimmer. If you find that with the certain eyeshadow you're not getting the blackest black, I like to create the shape with this and then you can even go over it with a different eyeliner just on the parts where it might not be covering the shimmer. But for basic, everyday, quick, easy wing, this is definitely my favorite liner I found. So when I first get it, I like to shake it just to make sure all the products getting down there. So the applicator on this is brush tip. It's super smooth. It's not gonna have that drag that some eyeliners do. It says that it's long wearing, water resistant, and smudge resistant, which I agree with. It also says this is supposed to help grow your lashes. I've been using this for years and my natural lashes are pretty long. I don't know if this has had something to do with it. I don't think it's dramatically grown my lashes, but it could be helping, who knows? So the best tip I have for you if you're just starting out with winged liner is to practice at night before you get in the shower or wash your face. When I first started getting into makeup, that's what I used to do. You can look a little wild because you're just gonna wash it off. Like anything, practice can never hurt. So something to consider before you go in for your wing is definitely your eye shape. We all have different eye shapes. Winged liner is one of those things that looks totally different depending on your eye shape. You're gonna need to do something different if you have hooded lids versus if you have more lid space or if you have mono lids. I personally have hooded lids, which means that my lids right here kind of overhang. So even if I'm creating a straight line, when my eyes are closed, it looks totally straight. If I open my eyes, it'll look a bit different. I also have 2 different eye shapes, which most of us do. We're not perfectly symmetrical, but I do have to do my wings a little bit different on each eye to get the same kind of look when my eyes are open. It can be really frustrating to kind of figure out that right shape, and I'm still not perfect on it. Sometimes my eyeliner looks great, sometimes it looks like total shit. If you have a lot of lid space and you don't have hooded lids, trying to think of someone who, Nikki Tutorials, for example, she has great lid space. If you have those kind of eyes, I'm jealous because eyeshadow eyeliner automatically looks 50 times better because you don't have anything causing it to change shape, basically. So when I do winged liner, I typically find it easiest to be really close to a mirror. So I'm just gonna bring this forward. Sorry it's in frame, but we're just gonna have to deal with it. I have a standing mirror on my wall that I'll usually stand right up against. I feel like I get the best wing doing that for some reason versus like sitting. Let's pray to the winged liner gods. Hope we have a good day. So I would say there's like 3 main steps to doing the wing that I do, which is first creating the base. So I'm basically gonna draw a line from, depending on how dramatic you want your eye, you can start all the way on the inner corner or you can start about halfway. I typically like, I'm like flipping you guys off. I typically like to start about here. So what we're gonna do is create the base. Then I'm going to draw a line out and then basically connect the triangle. So let's do this. I'm probably not going to be able to talk as I do it. I also have not tried this with the lash extensions, so fingers crossed. When you get a new one, you might want to just do a few strokes just to get all the color out. With this baseline right here, I'm literally just putting it right against my lash line. So you don't want there to be any kind of gap between your lashes and the line. If you have a really wobbly hand, you can stabilize it by putting your elbow on a desk. The great thing about this liner is that you don't get that weird drag where it causes it to almost be like jaggedy. This just is a really smooth line. You're gonna have to figure out how far on your eye you wanna pull this out. Wherever you end that line is where you're gonna start the wing. To make your eyes look bigger, you can pull it out farther and kind of create the illusion of having a bigger eye than you do. If you have hooded lids, you wanna be careful because when I do that, it can basically make the line look not straight because it starts to sag a little bit. So I'm just gonna pull it down right to where my bottom lash line meets the top. Another thing to be careful of is you don't want to pull it down too far. That's going to make your eyes look a little bit more droopy. You just kind of want to keep it in line and if anything a little bit more out than down. So the other awesome thing about this eyeliner is that it obviously has a super fine point, which is awesome for creating the wing. Now onto the actual wing part, which can be the trickier part. For me, the key with this is applying pressure at the base and then lightly kind of flicking it out. So if you think about almost like painting, if you want to fade something, you're going to apply the most pressure at the bottom and then just fade it out and use less pressure. If you've never done this before, you can practice on your hand. So just practice applying pressure and then letting go. The goal is to get it to be the blackest at the bottom and then a thinner line at the top. That's essentially what I'm going to be doing on my eye. So what I just did is started right at the base where that first line ended. It's up to you how far you want to pull up this line. This is going to be the end of your wing. So if you want more of a natural, smaller wing, you're not going to want to pull it up this far. But keep in mind, wherever the halfway point is, that's basically where I'm going to be connecting the line to create kind of a triangle, and that's what's actually going to create the wing. So now that I have this fairly straight line right here, to create the actual wing, I'm not starting right at the end because that's going to create a really thick triangle. You want the end of your wing to be that nice thin line. So basically I'm going to start about halfway in this line and I'm literally just going to drag it down in one motion. For me, I find that that's what creates the easiest wing. If you start and stop and start and stop, it's just going to be really hard to get that smooth wing. You can always go back in, clean it up, adjust it if you mess up. This is actually really hard for me to see with these lashes, so I hope this is going to turn out okay. I can't really see the line right now. I can only see my lashes. As you can see, there's a triangle kind of shape that isn't filled in yet. So this is going to be the top of the wing. Now that I have the basic kind of triangle shape, I'm just going to go in and fill it in. I just ended that about halfway in. The reason why I do that and not all the way in to where we started is that then I have one more time to kind of go over it and make sure the line is smooth from where I started. If you pull it all the way in and you need to build it up more, you're going to have too thick of a wing, if that makes sense. So I'm just going to go ahead and fill this in. You can go either direction, whatever is easiest for you. It's just like coloring, you just want to fill in between the lines. So now that I have that filled in, you can see when I have my eyebrows up and my lids aren't hooded, the line is a lot straighter right here than when I let my eye sag. You can kind of see it like droops right there. The wing is also a little bit more droopy. That's just my eye shape. That's what happens. So now what I'm going to do is create the final kind of smooth over where I go back in right where we first started, right about here. And I'm just going to try and do one swift line to kind of smooth out that top and make sure it's really nice and even. This is definitely a lot easier to do if you don't have lashes. And that's pretty much all I do. When I'm not talking through, I can do it a lot quicker. It usually takes me about 30 seconds. You can always go in with a Q-tip or a little makeup wipe and just clean up the edges or even use some concealer too. So I'm going to show you guys how to do that with some concealer. My outside line right now isn't horrible, but it definitely could be a little bit straighter. Best drugstore concealer I found to do this is the Wet n Wild Come Correct, just because it's very pigmented and it has a little bit more of a stiff formula. I wouldn't use this for underneath your eyes. I basically just like to use this to spot conceal and to clean up certain areas. So this is actually a super old brush. This is 6+. I got this from eBay years ago. I've just always used it. Morphe makes similar brushes to this. Sedona Lace makes similar brushes, so I'll leave a few options down below. So you don't want to go concealer overload. I just have a tiny bit, and I'm just going to basically clean up this outer line just so it's super sharp. Just so you can see where you're starting, you can keep your eye open, and then as you drag it up, you can just close your eye and do that in one kind of motion again. And then I just like to feather this out just so there's not a stark line right there, and just blend it out with your finger a little bit. All right, so I'm gonna attempt to do the same exact thing on the other eye. Wish me luck. Since my eyes are different shapes, this line, I kind of just have to eyeball it, how far to pull it out that's gonna make it look even. I almost always like the way that this eye looks better than this eye, just because I do have more lid space right here. Oh, and an entire lash just came off. Sweet. Typically only use the concealer if I have to clean it up, but just to even out both sides, I'll go in with concealer. Might as well do my bottom lashes on camera. I just use the Wet n Wild Mega Length Mascara. It's my favorite for the bottom lashes. Doesn't transfer onto concealer. Has a really easy wand just for getting in there since it's smaller. So that's pretty much all I do. Like I said, when I'm not filming, this takes me way less time. I feel like this eyeliner makes life 5,000 times easier. If you haven't tried it, give it a try. Physicians Formula, they always put on sale. There's usually like 40% off sales or buy one, get one free with Physicians Formula. So I hope this video helped you guys out in some way. If you have hooded lids, I know it can be frustrating, but just practice. It's okay. Wings are never perfect, at least mine aren't. If you're new here, you can join the Bayrito family and subscribe. I upload Monday, Wednesday, Fridays, 6 p.m. Pacific time. All of the makeup on the rest of my face will be linked down below in the description box. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. See you in my next video. Bye.